Which one is the one that's on page 60s, the 60s? Service. So I'll tell you why it doesn't matter. Because today I planned a singing service for you. And Adam's not here, so don't tell him I did a singing service without him, right? But that's what we're going to do. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So it's the summer, and living is easy, almost. It's not quite summer officially, but I was in a music mood. I have to tell you something very cool happened. Before I left for services, if you are on Facebook with me, go check my Facebook page. And if you're not, I have it on my phone, because this is true, it's live, it is not whatever the equivalent of photoshopped is. You know, we got that little Shmunchkin, the cat, that probably doesn't know his name is Galileo, because we call him Shmunchkin or Shmunchi or something like that all the time, that adopted us. So every time we walk in the door, we say, "Ner, ner, 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 ner," and he says, "Meow." And sometimes it's a coincidence that, because he was going to say meow anyway when we walked in the door. But we're pretending that we're teaching him the blues. So every once in a while, when he wants to say he's hungry or something and he's saying meow, 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 we pretend and we sing meow, 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 meow. And every time he says meow in the right place, we get all excited. So today, wasn't walking in, shouldn't have been. He may always be thinking about food, I don't know. It's very stressful to a Jewish mama to think that the animal is always thinking about food. But Ron was sitting with him, and Ron said, "Ner, ner, 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 ner," and he said, "Meow." And I cracked up. I said, "Wait, let's do it again. Let me record it." So I take out my camera and my phone, and I say, "Do it again." And Ron said, "Ner, ner, 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 ner," and he said, "Meow," right on time. And then he did it again, meow, meow, ner, 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 ner. And this time, like, he did this little sachet, and then it went meow. And it's the coolest thing. So it's only 8 seconds long on my Facebook page. But this, if I've ever done anything that's going to go viral, let me just tell you, it's about the cutest thing you've ever seen. And it's what I can say to this group will know what I mean, I think, if I say he's a cool cat and he sings the blues. So you got it? You see? How adorable is it? You can look at it. It's just really cute. Near, 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 meow. He says it better than I do. But he got treats for that, I'll tell you. He doesn't almost ever get treats. But he got treats for that, because that was the coolest thing that anybody has ever done, to be a cool cat and sing the blues. But I had already thought about maybe singing, because I knew it was just going to be a few people and we can sing, and I think I called it a casual service. So one of the things I did today was watched, and I don't know why, and I didn't have a lot of time. It was when I sat down for like 3 minutes to eat something, and I watched a 3-minute Bim Bam. Have you seen the Bim Bam videos? So they used to be called Godcast, G-D cast, and it started with Torah commentaries by some famous Jewish inspirational people. They could be artists or musicians or whatever, and they did their perspective on a Torah portion, and it was called Godcast, and we loved it. We used it all the time. They changed their name then from Godcast to Bim Bam. So you could look up the same things. Tomorrow's Torah portion, for example, is Korach. So you could look up Bim Bam Korach, and you'll find at least one, because then they added another whole layer of new people doing commentaries about it. But you'll find commentators talking about commentaries about the Torah portions. But then they added a couple of other important things. They added some historical information videos. They added how-to videos, like what are tefillin and how do you put them on. And it's in a very easy to understand little bite-sized amount of thing. I sent a kid I went from elementary school through high school with, Bonnie, who we actually were in college together too. And she sent me a private message the other day on Facebook saying, "I got these from my great-grandparents. They're in a bag and I don't know what they really are. What are they? And one looks like it might hold candles, and one looks like it might hold wine, and one is this other little thing. What is it?" And I sent her a bimbam about Havdalah because it's a Havdalah set. And it said on the bottom, it was silver, and it said that it was made in Palestine in the 1918, something like that. It was old, and she was thrilled. And I sent her to My Jewish Learning and to Bimbam about it. But they also do, they have a kids show, kind of, an animated kids show that's called Shaboom. But then they stopped. They ran out of funding and things, and they just stopped. So I met the people who worked on it every time I went to the biennial, and we would talk about ideas and stuff. But anyway, I was watching the Bimbam about how the Hasidic movement started. And I think that if you looked at the history of the Hasidic movement, like the first Hasidic rabbi's name was, they called him Baal Shem Tov, which means master of the good name. It wasn't his real name, but that's what they called him. And it was in a time when, in order to be Jewish, you had to go to school and learn what it meant to be Jewish. And the rabbi's job wasn't specifically to teach about Judaism and tikkun olam and repairing the world and things like that. It was about teaching laws. Like, you go to the rabbi to find out if your chicken was kosher, or you go to the rabbi to say, oh, I'm making chicken soup and the kids were having a food fight and they threw a piece of cheese in it. Is my chicken soup kosher or not? And the rabbi would have to answer legal questions. They weren't counselors, they weren't other things. And then Baal Shem Tov comes up, and instead of talking about the technicalities of Judaism, he talked about the spiritual nature, the mystical natures of Judaism. And he got you to feel what it was to be Jewish more than worrying about the details about what it was to be Jewish. And as you can imagine, it was not very popular with some of the other rabbis who didn't think of him as a rabbi if he's not going around talking about the legal issues, if he's making everybody sing and dance and stuff to be Jewish. And so there was a long period of a group that they called the Misnagim, which were the Mitnagim, the ones who were against the opposing. And eventually, these two groups kind of got together and became orthodoxy, and it was also around the time when the Reform movement started. And the Reform movement is a lot more like what Hasidic Judaism started out to be than anything else. We care more about what we do for the world and for the people around us than we care about the details of the, did you light the candles for Shabbat at 7:16 or did you light it at 7:14? That was okay, but 7:17, that was bad. We don't worry about those as much as we say, how awesome is it to light candles? It reminds us of Shabbat long gone, and we take a deep breath and we feel the moment more than making sure we're keeping to the details. So I thought that maybe tonight we could do a little bit of feeling the moments more than we'll also do the technical things. The parts of the service that we're supposed to do, we're going to do, unless I forget about it again. But that's why Jerry, Mom, make sure they're going like, usually it's Mom pointing to the back of the book. I don't know. My brain stopped remembering all of the orders of the stuff that's not directly in the book. Thank you. So, and the people who are watching on YouTube, there is a link to the words to the service, and I will refer you to service 2, and all the words are there for that. But you also have the intermediate pages, so you'll have all of this. But what I wanted to start off with was this. If you are, there are Eastern religions that do this as well, that you immerse yourself in sounds, you breathe, you think about your breath, and so before we even take a deep breath, I want us to try this. Ya ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ba, ya ba ba ba, ya ba bim bam, ya ba ba bim bam, ya ba ba ba, ya ba 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 bum. I know this is hard to believe, but that's your part. There's a little more too. You don't have to get it right. You just have to hear the sound of your vocal cords kind of rattling in your body. Ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bum, Ya ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba bim bum. Ya ba ba bim bum. Ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bum. And what do those words mean? Nothing. They feel really good though. When you say that feels good in your whole body shakes, and when you go ba ba ba, it feels good. So we're going to do it again, and then there's one other part like there is in every other Jewish song just about, where there's the low part and the high part, and we come back. Ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bum. We're going to go to the high part. You know it already, even if you've never heard it before. Ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bum. And we're going to do it one more time. Ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bum. Oh ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba bim bum. Ya ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba bim bum, ya ba ba bim bum, ya ba 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 ya ba 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 bum. Thank you. It also feels good to hear people singing. Then we're going to come all the way over to here, and we're going to see if the lights are still on, because one of them doesn't look very on. It is on. It's just taking a little bit of a siesta. Come on. There it is. I'll put it over here. The blessing, we're going to say, oh wait, the page number is like 65 for the blessing. 65. And before we get over there, I better take a deep breath or I'm going to put the flames out. So you are supposed to praise God with all of your soul. And the word for soul is related to the word for breath. So when you inhale, take in the Spirit of God. And when you exhale, you can give it back the part that God needs. Try it again. Go. Try again. Inhale. Exhale. All of the Spirit of God. Add that extra soul. I will remind you, as I usually do, keep breathing. You're not only supposed to take 2 breaths, keep breathing. You don't have to take very deep breaths, but it does help if you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, the cleansing breaths, so that you're relaxing and letting your worries stay out the door. Don't let those glass doors deceive you. You can't see those, any of your worries, any of the lists. They're out there. We're going to say, Brachi B'Shemoy, Brachi B'Shemoy, Brachi B'Shemoy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Those are Shabbat candles. You may be seated. I know how you do it at your house. You stand up for it, don't you? I was standing up. So if you turn to page, let's do page 66, you will see the words, some of the words for this one. Will singen when I sing Lecha Dodi, when I sing Lecha Dodi. Sollst du singen, y'all gotta sing. This may be too low even for me. Let's go up a little bit. Will singen when I sing Lecha Dodi, when I sing Lecha Dodi. Sollst du singen, y'all gotta sing Chiri Biri Bim. Can you sing that low? Bernard, you could do it. Ich will singen when I sing Likras Kala. When I sing Beloved, come to meet the bride. Sollst du singen, y'all gotta sing Chiri Biri Bam. Did I say Bim the first time or Bam the second time? It doesn't matter. Lecha Doidi. Thank you. I have to give you a microphone, I think, Max. Here, take this one for now. They're not singing. They're just looking at me like, what? You get this. Ready? Let's do this again. Ready? Lecha doidi.
Chiri biri bim.
There you go. Likras kala.
Chiri biri bum.
Lecha doidi. Likras kala.
Chiri biri 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 bum.
Now I say chiri bim.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bim bum bim bum bim bum. Chiri bum.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bim bum bim bum bim bum. Everybody sings I chiri
Chiri bim bum bum.
I chiri bim bum bum. I chiri bim bum bum. I chiri bim bum bum. Ich will singen when I sing Yerushalayim. When I sing Yerushalayim, you're gonna sing. Sollst du singen, y'all gotta sing Chiri Biri Bim.
Okay.
Ich will singen when I sing HaKodesh. It's the holy city. Sollst du singen, y'all gotta sing Chiri Biri Bam. Here it comes. You ready? Yerushalayim.
Chiri biri bim.
HaKodesh.
Chiri biri bum.
Yerushalayim. HaKodesh.
Chiri biri 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 bum.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bim bum bim bum bim bum. Chiri bum.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bim.
Chiri bum.
Chiri bim bum bim bum bim bum. I
Chiri chiri bim bum bum. I chiri 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 bim bum bum. I chiri 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 bim bum bum. I chiri chiri bum bum. I chiri chiri bim bum bum. I chiri chiri bim bum bum. I chiri chiri bim bum bum.
We could have done another one, but that one's more fun. And I just sang in Yiddish too. You want to do another round, Max? We could do another round. Page 68. This is because we're glad to be here singing together, even if we're mostly spread out. Hine ma tovu manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manahim, shevet achim gam yachad. Max, can you see how many people are watching on YouTube? Okay. So that means we have a minion. There are more than the number of people sitting here are watching us on YouTube now. So that means on page 69, I have a joke about this prayer. You know, we said just now in the Lecha Dodi, I said Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh, the holy city. So the root for holy is kadosh. And so you know it from lots of things, the Kiddush and things like that. This prayer is called the Kaddish, which also means holy. That's what it's about holiness, about God being holy. And I asked my class, you've heard me tell this story because I love this story. I said, what is the root kadosh, kodesh, kiddush? What does it mean? Nothing. And I tried giving them lots of examples, nothing. And finally, one kid said, and I'll tell you, I don't remember if I said this for confirmation, but it was one of the students in the confirmation class this year, but this was years ago, and he said, I know, Kaddish, like cottage cheese, right? I love my students. I love my students. So this is called, in English they call it the Reader's Kaddish. In Hebrew they call it the Chatzi Kaddish, which means half of a Kaddish, because it is shorter than the other Kaddishes during the service. In a traditional service, there are 5 Kaddishes that separate between the different parts of the service. The part we've been doing so far is the preliminary service. It's supposed to get us in the mood for praying. Once we hit this, it means we're about to hit another phase of the service. And that's true no matter where you are, which service you are, Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, Children's Service, wherever you are. These are the dividing lines. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayed dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizmahan kariv, v'miru, amen. Yeheh shmei Rabbah mevarach, la'alam ul'almei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpahar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemeh dekudesha, brichu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imiru, amen. We'll do regular melodies because you know some of these. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach la'olam va'ed. And then we're going to do this one at the bottom of 71. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Shem Kivod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Shem Kivod Malchuto le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. But before you sit down, take a deep breath. The word means listen, and do this. Shema. Let it hold out as long as you can. Yisrael. Not as long as you can, just for a while. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. You may be seated. So one of my secrets for that version, some people do it like that. All of your breath is supposed to praise God. So if you say it slowly like that, you inhale and then you exhale and all of your breath is praising God. And you can hear each other. But this year when we had to sing on Zoom, it is not a pretty thing to try to sing together on Zoom because every computer is lagging, so everybody is coming at you in a different time. But it's also, the Zoom platform is not designed to be a singing platform. It's designed for business meetings, so whoever seems to be the prominent voice of the meeting is the one who's going to get the microphone. And everything else is going to be kind of muted. And so one voice is going to come louder than the others. I can tell you who it is on Saturday mornings. It's Debbie. Debbie's voice is going to be louder than the others. And it doesn't matter. It's always going to kind of be like that, so it's hard to hear everybody's voice. But when we did it like that, where we held it for a long time, there were moments when we were all singing together. And it was really wonderful. It's not the only way we did it, but it was But we came up with lots of ways of trying. And it means listen. Listen, Israel. And there we were. So page 72 has the chant for the section that is actually a quote from Torah, from Deuteronomy. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Bottom of page 73 or top of page 74. I'm not going to check to see if you're looking at it in the Hebrew or the English. I'll close my eyes because if you're the bottom of 73, you're looking at it in the Hebrew. If you're the top of 74, I know you're looking at transliteration, and it doesn't matter to me as long as it's coming out. You can even close your eyes. You know this one. To page 75. Maybe too high, but we'll try it like this anyway. It's funny that these days when we sing the songs that are in the prayer book, it's almost exclusively in Hebrew. Most of the songs we sing are the Hebrew things. Some of these also have English versions to it, but that's not the way we usually do it here. It's surprising when you think about it, but it's not the way we usually do it here. We usually sing most of our prayers in Hebrew, and then we read a little bit, that's English, and then we sing Hebrew. Vishameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please turn to page 76 and rise for the Tefillah section, also known as the Amidah section, which means the standing service part. Adonai שפתה תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh HaKol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Our kids are leaving for Camp Jacob, some of them. The first session starts on Sunday. Some of the staff, some of the kids from here are staff there now. But they'll be there starting Sunday, and when they do services, they also do the next paragraph in Hebrew and they chant it. So let's do that in honor of them. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי hakol. And we're going to just say, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God, and you may be seated. Oh, Max, I need my... Well, it's okay. I don't need the microphone back. No, I almost needed the microphone back. Unless you want to play drums over there on the microphone. You want to play drums? Or are you going to give it back to me?
No, I'll give it back.
Oh, man, he's giving it back to me. I get to play drums. We are on page 78, and I need the microphone down here because this is my drum. Can you hear it? Yismechu v'malechutecha shomerei 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 Shabbat korei oneg Shabbat mikadeshei mikadeshei shvi Shabbat kulam yismeu v'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha shomerei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat v'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha shomerei 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 Shabbat korei oneg Shabbat. Now, if you like the words that you need to say for this section, I'll let you do English while I sing the part on page 79. There is no transliteration for this, so I'll sing it. And you know the Hebrew, you can sing with me, and if not, look at the English. It's not a translation of what I'm singing. Ritzeh, Ritzeh, Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahavat tikabel u'tehi leratzon tamid ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני שאותך לבדך בהירה נעבוד. שאותך לבדך בהירה נעבוד. We're going to continue on page 80. The last prayer before the silent prayer on the tefillah section is supposed to be a prayer about peace. But as much as it was a song written for guitar, and I love doing it on guitar. I like it better when Adam sings it, so I'm going to sing something else for you. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. It means peace upon y'all, except it's really high. I don't know how I'm going to hit all these notes. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. The last part is low. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. I didn't remember the chords one time. It's a beautiful song and it's around. Close your eyes and try. We take a moment now to sing our prayers silently. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו the service. Our hearts and our prayers turn to those who are ill or recuperating. We turn to the inside back cover of our prayer books. If you are watching online, it's just the next page. You are welcome to call out names for whom you would like us to be saying prayers of healing. For all these names, for the names we choose to hold in our hearts and not say out loud, we pray together. O God, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. Guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing and health. Mi shebeirach avotenu mekor habracha may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. I'm going to talk for a second because there's something important to tell you about this one. You've heard me say that according to Jewish tradition, usually when you're called up for an honor or you're supposed to say who you are, what your name is in Jewish tradition, you say that you are the child of your father. But when it comes to asking God for healing, you say that you are the child of your mother, that there's a different connection between God and mothers in the name of the mothers asking for healing, that there's a different kind of rachamim, a different kind of mercy that you can ask God for. And if mom says so, God better do it. I think it's something like that. But we are, as of tomorrow morning, we are the second day, which means as of tonight when we lit our candles, we are the second day of the month of Tammuz. Last week we said the blessing. We remembered that one. Today was Rosh Chodesh, Tammuz. And the Rosh Chodesh is traditionally a women's holiday. I don't know if you knew that. So holy days, people aren't supposed to work. On Rosh Chodesh, women are not supposed to work. Did you know that? I should have told you that before, right? Yeah, exactly. So, and there are special prayers that you can say. And women in Jerusalem want to go to the Kotel. They want to go up to the wall and they want to stand and pray at the wall. And they want to read the part about in the Torah that talks about Rosh Chodesh, the new month, and they want to celebrate this wonderful holiday that has a special meaning for women. And we've been trying to do that. There's a group called WOW, Women of the Wall, W-O-W, WOW. And they've been trying to pray, have their service. There's a spot that has been cordoned off for the women to say their prayers. And they come in and some women wear a talit, and they have a Torah, and they have their prayer books, and the Orthodox men and women that are there prevent them from praying. And they do it in, I'm going to just say it, horrific ways. It's horrible. So this year, earlier today, what they did was the women of the wall came in with some prayer books, with some sidurim, all in Hebrew, all with God's name on it. And these Orthodox men took these prayer books, ripped them to shreds, threw them on the ground, and stomped on them. That's supposed to be in the name of honoring God. They're taking prayer books with God's name and ripping them and stomping them on the floor. Something like this happens every month. As soon as the women start to pray and they're singing and they're saying Shema, the women, because it's a women's section, they're just in a small section of the women's section, the women start blowing on whistles and screaming and using those air horns to blot out these women's voices, but they're also blotting out God's name. That's not a good thing. It's horrible. Sometimes even worse things happen because it's not just about books. It's about being rough to the women who they think might be carrying a Torah under their garment. So this kinds of searches that they do when they go there, it's horrific. And that happened today. As I'm singing this and hearing about, in the Hebrew we said, Misha berach avotenu, may the one who blessed our, I used to say ancestors until the Reform movement added the matriarchs. So now I have to say avotenu means just the fathers. And then it says mukor habracha liimotenu, and the source of blessing for our mothers. They added mothers, and I have to separate them out. But we're talking to the fathers and the mothers, and we're saying, watch over us. And this today was a women's holiday, and this is how our women who are trying to just pray are being treated. In Israel, I love Israel. I love Jerusalem more than any other place in the world. And this is how the women get treated on the women's holiday sometimes. So I'm sorry to tell you that, but I needed to let you know that that was going on. But it has become our tradition to also say a prayer on behalf of our military, our police, our firefighters, the EMTs, the doctors, the nurses, and the veterans. We say, Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, may the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we've entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom, protecting us, or healing us in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve. Give them courage to succeed and strength to persevere. May they return home safely, and let us say, Amen. So I had another song I was going to do as my sermon, but I'm going to do a different one because of who's here today. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rishru shel ha'mayim, v'rak ha'shamayim, tfilat ha'adam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rishru shel ha'mayim, v'rak ha'shamayim, tfilat ha'adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. Madam President, tell us the things that we need to know for the next few days. Please. And you have to sing it. No, you don't have to sing it. she on? Hold on, let's make sure the microphone is on. I thought I turned it on. Nope, it's over here. We need it on for, what you're saying is extremely important.
Good.
Ready?
Shabbat Shalom. We'll start over. Rabbi Jana has an Onyx Shabbat tonight on Zoom. It will begin about 30 minutes after the service ends. Check the website for details about how to join. Tomorrow from 9 to 9:30, we will have Kiddush Shabbat for families. Fill out the form for details about how to attend in person or on Zoom. We will also have in person and on Zoom tomorrow for the 9:45 Torah study and 11 a.m. Shabbat morning service. Rabbi Jana's adult Hebrew class will not meet every week this summer. Please check the website to see when there will be classes. This Sunday is June 13th. So Rabbi Jana will have the
No, it's-
fourth annual
Say it's 6:13.
6/13 on 6/13 at 6:13. That is June 13th at 6:13 p.m. for the 613 commandments. This year we are on Zoom. Expect not only to visit but to have some fun. Again, the best way to find out what's going on here is to check your email, one call, or online at the B'nai Zion website. Donations were made to B'nai Zion Sisterhood Flower Fund in loving memory of Alfred Hyman by Dorothy and Bernard Lobel, and in loving memory of Alexander Benjamin Mizell by Claire Mizell and Debbie Kamaker and family. Stay safe. Shabbat Shalom.
It was short, but it's one of the hardest messages to read today because it was Kiddush Shabbat. We don't even know how to say that one. And it's 6:13 on 6:13 for 6:13. But you have to say the colons and the slashes. And you're making it more complicated. I was trying to make it easy. It's 6:13 at 6:13 on 6:13. And, it was great. It was wonderful. Thank you. It was wonderful. I know, it's confusing, but it's fun. We've been doing this now. We even got to do it last year, but it's our third year. We started off having dinner. This year we're not doing dinner, but maybe next year we will again. 6:13. It's 6:13 at 6:13 for 6:13. I don't know. Yeah. And we'll have 613 people there. Yeah. We'll have 6.13 people there. If we're lucky, we'll have 6.13 people. We turn to page 148, and I should have had you stay up here so we had one more human being to open the ark, but I got this. Oh yes, please, please, please. Anyone who's ready to boing, that means you've got to come to Kid Shabbat tomorrow too, because you can boing. Please rise. Busy resting, I hope, on Shabbat. Page 148. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoy ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. And to keep singing on the opposite page, we sing ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. When the ark is closed, you may be seated. And he hit those notes, let me tell you. We can continue on page 151. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. And I'm sad to report to you that for all of the months of this year, we were only showing two military casualties, but we just lost First Sergeant Casey J. His last name is Hart, H-A-R-T. He served in the Army. He was 42 years old, and he was from Louisiana. We've lost 149 police officers, 2 from Louisiana. We've lost 9 canine officers this year. We've lost 46 firefighters. I don't think I have to tell you that the COVID numbers are not increasing quickly anymore in our state. I am very grateful, and not in our part of the state, but in parts of the world, they're increasing faster than they had before. So we're praying for all the people to get past this. It's still a scary thing in the world. So if you're out there and you're suffering, we're praying for you. And if you've lost someone, we pray for you. And it's been a horrible thing. So this is where we talk about those people who had died when we don't know whether they've been buried or not yet. And then we, later in the service, get to talk about those who we know when they have been buried. So we say, as we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And we continue on page 152. Number 3, it is hard to sing of oneness when our own world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is a part of who we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives most fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. However brief our time on earth, O God, you endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. We now recall the loved ones whom death has taken from us during these past 30 days. We remember Robert Bronig, Ron Riley, Fred Phillips, and Bobby Feldstone. And we remember the congregants' parents who died within the past year. We remember Avery Can Jr., Tommy Crowder, Sophie Lipo, Robert Talbert, Joseph Paris, Artis Robison, George Rothkopf, and Henry Brenner. And as we remember those who died at this season in years past, we take them into our hearts with our own. Those for whom we're observing your site this week include Randolph Charles Bailey and Leroy Bailey, Kurt Braun, Barbara Lane Bronner, Ergie Nagy Deutsch, Ethel Willer Eltis, Bessie W. Friedenthal, Sadie Friedman, Walter L. Gerson, Matthew Gold, Alfred Hyman, Alexander Benjamin Mazel, Helene Robbie Meyer, Dr. Lawrence Joseph Blanchard, Julia E. Rutman, Hilda W. Wilbert, and Stephen Wright. In this moment of memory, our griefs and sympathies are mingled. Loving God, we rise as together we praise your name. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 154, but the translation is on 155. It means to sanctify. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam ul'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. You may be seated. And tomorrow, when the kids get here, this is called the Shabbat March. And they have to do it marching around and spinning around and things, but you don't. And skipping. I don't forget the skipping. You don't. And the good thing is, the people who come on Friday night, most of you, never see that there's skipping and spinning that go on in the sanctuary. You don't need to see that. But these kids need to do that. They need to get this out of their system and get familiar with the sanctuary. They need to say the Shema all the way over there. They need to say well, you'll see. One of these days, you should come and join us. It's really fun. But this is the song that we start with. And this is what we'll end with today. Bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum, chiri biri biri bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Oh, come on, I need a clap. At least a clap. You don't have to do the spinning and the pirouetting. It's supposed to be like this. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. You got to find a new way to clap. It has to be a different way than what you do during the rest of the week. However you normally clap, do it a different way. Think about it's one of the interpretations of what Kaddish is. Kadosh, holy, is different, like the cheese. It's different. It's a different kind of cheese. Be different and find a different way to clap just for Shabbat. It's really fun. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, chiri biri biri bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. I think we have 2 kids signed up to be here in person, and 2 kids signed up, 2 families, and 2 families signed up to be here on Zoom, except it may be the same family, that last family. I'm not 100% sure about that. So with that, please rise. And I keep wanting to write a song version of this one, and I have not yet written it. It's in my head a lot, and then it goes right down the bathtub drain, the shower drain, after I finish thinking about it. I need a recorder in there. But it is a blessing to be here with you, to sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing, and I felt like singing tonight. So thank you for that. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisem lecha shalom. May God's face always be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace and melodies in your heart and a little bit of the blues. Near, 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 near. Meow. Shabbat shalom. Near, 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 near.